They wouldn't let us bring a kit or amplifier. So,
Kurt, what's going on with the first 9, my title for the prequel?
it's on the table, as is some other mythology things. FX is very aware of it, and I don't know. It's not. It's nothing. Nothing's been formalized yet. I've been having conversations with John Landgraf about, expanding the mythology of the show, and maybe even, doing some novelization and some graphic novels, and really sort of expanding the universe. Like John and I were talking, we realized we have this great mythology and this great world, and there's like 30 some other charters of Sons of Anarchy. We deal with the primary charter and the mother charter, but there's all these other charters out there, and it would be cool to start maybe creating other mythologies out there. And we would probably begin that, through the novelization process initially. So there's a lot of conversation that's been going around about expanding the universe. The prequel show, I don't know. My sense is that, quite honestly, I don't know if I'd want to jump right onto another Sons project after this. I don't know if that would be the best thing creatively for me to do. Perhaps it's the kind of thing where we let it breathe for a couple of seasons and then come back and do it. I don't know. But the conversation about a lot of different things has been going on.
Related, I'm going to give these people a chance too, but are we going to see a definitive answer to how John Teller died, or would that be in the prequel?
I don't know if we're going to see. I like the idea of, and maybe it'll be more specific as time rolls around, but towards the end. But I like the idea that it is left up in the air to a certain extent. We kind of know that Clay's responsible. We're not sure. There's been a lot of different theories. Gemma threw out the theory, I think, in season 2 or 3 about she feels John killed himself, and that he. So there's a lot of different theories out there, and I think that's much more, at this stage, it's much more interesting than saying definitively X or Y.
But now that the show has been defined and you got more seasons to come, what's next for the story for this character? What's next? Where are they going to go?
That's about 37 weeks worth of work. We continue. We continue this season with Jax at the head of that table, and the ramifications of that, and seeing Jax as a leader. I mean, I've always wanted to get him to that place at the head of the table, so we could play out a few seasons of, how does, what happens when the prince becomes king? Can he become, that's what I've been talking about. Can Jax become, can you be the leader of an outlaw organization and not become Clay? Is that even possible? And if you don't become Clay, are you then perceived as weak, and are you subject to the fate of John Teller? So it's really about Jax kind of, we've been filling Jax's plate with all this shit for 4 seasons, all this experience, all these lessons, and now he's got all that stuff at his avail, and what does he pick and choose? When he's faced with these highly dramatic circumstances that we create from season to season, what choices does he make? Does he make the wise, calm, rational decision? Does he make the impulsive, vengeful decision? All those things will have him forced to take action on this season to see ultimately what kind of leader he becomes.
David LaRava wrote Hands. Are any of the actors being involved in writing any of the episodes or directing?
No, DL has been a writer for a long time, and we had conversations about him, talking to him early on when he was a technical consultant on the show, and so we've had conversations about writing all along. But that's really the only conversation that's happened. I think my actors are very happy with what they're doing in front of the camera.
about putting your bike and Theo's bike as backdrop?
What's that?
Putting your bobber and Theo's bobber as a backdrop at some point. Don't they show up at the clubhouse?
I don't think Theo has his bobber anymore.
Oh,
I think
really?
he's getting a new one. Yeah, I think that one worked out so well.
Let's talk about that. Yours?
Perhaps.
The game? What's going on with the game?
You know, we've had conversations. I get excited. I sit down with some people in the industry, and they seem excited, and then I don't fucking hear anything. So I don't know. You know, here's what I do know. I do know that, and I shouldn't say that. I'm sure a lot is going on behind scenes that I'm not aware of. But I do know that making a game is like making a tentpole movie. It's just a huge process. It's incredibly expensive, and you really have to align all those things to make it happen. And it's why it can take years and years for games to happen. And the ones that tend to roll out quickly look like they've rolled out quickly, in my opinion. So I hope it's moving forward. They've sort of been leaving me alone because they know I'm kind of immersed in stuff right now. But I do think it'll happen. I think the question is we have to realize if it's going to happen, it's got to happen now, because I think it would take a couple of years to do. So I think the plan would be, to start the ball rolling now and really try to roll it out with season 7. And while the show is at least still in the air, is kind of the plan.
Last question. So, is there an ending, or is it like, are you shooting for getting to a certain point, or is it kind of like they're going to go off and?
My sense is that we'll get 7 seasons, and I have an ending in mind for that. Whether it'll feel like an ending or whether it'll feel like a continuation, I think that's will be up to the people watching it. But I definitely have a sense of where I'd like it to end, and I try to hold on to that loosely, so I don't lock myself into things. But I do have a sense of where I'd like it to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.